Okay, our next guest is one of our very special guests today. His name is Kerry Cook, and I want to tell you a little bit about him. First of all, he has a new book that just came out on February 27th. It's in the bookstores right now. It tells the story, and it's a really horrific story, so be prepared when you read it. Chasing Justice, my story of freeing myself after 2 decades on death row for a crime I didn't commit. He was on death row here in Texas for 22 years, and then he was exonerated. And some of you may have heard about the play called The Exonerated, and his character, or he's represented as one of these 6 characters in the play, and he's been portrayed by some very famous actors. He's also portrayed himself on occasion in the play itself. If you go on the newsstands today, check out People magazine. It has a story on there on page 50 on the newsstands right now about his book, so check it out. He's going to be coming down, came down special today from Plano. He took time out from the book tour. He's going all over the United States to tell people about his story that's in this book. So we really appreciate him coming down here today. Later on, he's going to be testifying. I mean, he took some time out today from the book tour, but also from Joseph Nichols, who was executed last week. He came down here, a little pause from his national tour to come back to Texas to protest that execution. So when you hear his story, bear in mind there are a lot of problems in the death penalty system, but all of them were represented pretty well in his case. His case was described by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals as one of the worst examples of police and prosecutorial misconduct in U.S. history. So everything that could go wrong to end up somebody being on death row went wrong in this case. So Kerry Cook, can you come on up here and share your story with us?
I'm deeply troubled to be here. I'm not here, as I would like to be, to hear about a vote on a moratorium of the death penalty, of a clearly broken system. How broken is it? Well, they're not just hearing from us anymore, they're hearing from one of their own. Who's one of their own? Samuel Millsap. What is Samuel saying? Well, I convinced the jury to convict Reuben Cantu and send him to death row. Reuben was later executed. Cameron Willingham, executed, innocent, completely innocent. We're not talking about a few, the state didn't meet their burden of guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. We're talking about complete innocence. Innocent, murdered. Those are just the ones we know about, because let's face it, this is a penalty the state can bury their mistake. That's right. Who knows about it? So I'm really troubled to be here because I'm not here for a moratorium. I'm here because there's a legislative bill to expand the madness. Let's don't fix it. Let's don't stop and repair it. Let's expand the madness. So yes, I left Los Angeles, New York to come to Texas because I want to do some expansion. I want to expand on my story to the Texas legislature. Before the ink was dry, my story said to be one of the worst examples of police and prosecutorial misconduct in American history. Any and everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Murphy's Law personified, ineffective assistance of counsel, junk sciences, erroneous eyewitness identification, snitch testimony, you name it, I got it. If this book doesn't make the clarion call for a moratorium in Texas, there is no justice. It really is just us.
Right. Okay.
All right, Kerry. Thank you very much, Kerry.
Thank you.
We're very honored you came down here, Kerry, today to share their story with us, and I think it's going to have a very big impact once we go face to face. In fact, I've seen Kerry. It was back in 2001, I think Kerry came down here, and we spoke with, I think it was Brian McCall. Brian McCall is the only Republican who's ever came out in favor of a moratorium on executions in Texas. And Kerry spoke to him outside the vending machines and told his story to him for about 20 minutes. And after the end of that conversation, Brian said, well, I'm going to vote for a moratorium when it gets to the floor. And he did. And so far, he's been the only Republican who's done that.